Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I think the theme of this entire conference was very rightly summarized by my previous speaker, Dr. Bhatt, and fabulous job there in terms of looking at the way the entire retail is getting changed in the digital era. So rather than revealing the whole content, I will just talk about the few snippets of the report, and that will be available to you, either today or later, from tomorrow onwards. So we are seeing, and this is what we saw in the earlier presentation as well, that there is an explosion, almost an explosion of data, and that is because there is multiple channels through which the customers are experiencing or they are trying to buy products. Also, there is a lot of emphasis which is getting placed in terms of how retailers are trying to source their different wares, and the entire logistics of supplying is also getting completely digitized, and there's a lot of information and data which is getting captured. So the advent of not just the change in the behavior of the customer, but also the advancements in the technology, particularly the way in which the point of sale systems are operating, and also the smartphones are being used as a channel, it means that there is this huge amount of data which is getting stored. And I think there are multiple surveys which has done and we saw one particular figure which is some 44 million, and we're not talking about terabytes, we're actually talking about petabytes of data which is being available. We're also talking about some dark data, with the data which nobody has seen, and we can actually use it for doing our analysis. So all this is a wealth of information, and this is leading to a completely new way in which we are trying to figure out a little more about our customers. We're talking about targeting the moment. We're talking about figuring out how we can do anticipatory shipping. We are talking about how we can be more smart in terms of sourcing from the best suppliers. So there was a study which was done by us, and we tried to figure out whether it's all hype or there is some element of reality also in it, and we found that actually more than 64% of the top executives now believe that analytics using data and big data is actually changing the way they are operating and they are taking decisions, and that's a very, very positive a reinforcement of the entire discussion we are having today, that at the CXO level, at the CEO level, they are relying a lot more on the data, because it's impossible to not rely on that and still take correct and meaningful decisions. Also being driven by the fact that some of these decisions have to be taken almost on a continual basis. It's impossible to take those decisions by just relying on your intuition without really leveraging the data. So there are statistics, there are facts which is being supported, and that's a very positive sign where people are actually saying that I really need to use that data in order to take the right decisions for my customers. Right? So there are some of what we call as uses or applications of where we can see the way in which the retail world is operating. So whether it is about, say, recommending the right kind of products which needs to be stored in this store, or whether it is about figuring out the sentiment of what my customers are saying, or whether it is about really customizing the promotion. So for example, if I am a customer, can I really pinpoint and do a micro segment and just send that specific promotion which I will be interested in? Because if I just send a mass mailer, or if I just send a mass promotional campaign to people, they would not just be interested. In fact, they might just treat it as a spam and not even look at it. So how do I make my promotional campaigns very, very specific to my customers based on their specific needs? And there are millions of customers, so how do I use the data at real time to do those specific promotions? Also, we are not really talking about looking at the entire population in one blob. We are really talking about segmenting them to the finest level of detail. Right now, segments which can be of the range of 1,000 or even 2,000 segments is not unheard of. We are not really talking about 5 or 6 segments. We are actually talking about a lot of micro-segmentation based on the behaviors, based on the psychographic and behavioral profile, so that we are in a better position to capture that specific value which we can provide, and we can be more profitable. Also about the pricing, we have seen that in this particular industry, price, and particularly in the Indian context, the consumer is extremely price sensitive in many cases, in many segments. So how do we actually are taking advantage of that situation in terms of doing a better pricing of our products? Because if that is not done right, then either you are losing out on sales or you're losing out on profitability. So you need a lot of analytics around that to have the right kind of pricing for your different products. Also the different marketing campaigns which are being run, how do we find out what is the return on investment on these marketing campaigns? What's the sales lift I'm getting? We are seeing 50%, 60% discounts from the online retail store. How is that really helping in terms of increasing either the footfall or increasing in actually increasing the number of sales? And not to be left behind, at least in the Indian context, the entire sourcing or understanding where you are going to get your products from a retail perspective is extremely crucial, particularly for some sectors, like if you are dealing with, say, fresh foods. The entire sourcing becomes a big challenge, and it's very important, not just from a quality perspective, because we have seen examples of what has happened in the past where certain products got rejected. So not just even from a quality perspective, but also from a price perspective. And these decisions require a lot of sophistication around how you are going to select the right vendor for your specific sourcing, and the analytics behind that to ensure that you are safe and you are procuring it at the right price and all that. Inventory planning, it's a very a standard topic in most of the analytics, and becomes even more important in the context of a retail. Particularly, your mix is changing, your stock is changing, you have different aging profiles, your shrinkage, and your multiple problems, and hence usage of analytics to drive much better inventory planning. Assortment optimization is another piece which is very important. So, for example, if you are seeing people are buying both butter and bread together, and you're seeing that your butter is being stored in one corner of the store and the bread is because you need a cold storage, then you need to figure out whether you can actually keep the assortment together, which will probably encourage the behavior for the bundling of these products or even the buying of these products in one place. Also, it is not just a very theoretical exercise, it has to be embedded as a process in many organizations. So what is also very important is that not just crunch the data or do the analysis, but then complete the loop in terms of how do you embed that as part of a decision-making process. There could be still some resistance in terms of an organization adopting a particular analytics platform, because there might still be some skepticism in terms of whether it is really adding value. So that's the change management piece, which is important from an organization perspective. Also, it is not a very static thing, because your understanding of your customer keeps changing, your competition is different, your environment is changing, so the analytical models or the different insights you are getting keeps changing over a period of time. So how do you have a robust team in place which can take care of these changes on a regular basis? So that's more a sustenance of the entire program in the organization, which becomes really important. So with that, I would like to just end this, because I'm sure there will be many opportunities for us to talk more about it, and we will be having a lot of panel discussions as well. And there is a very detailed report which is going to be shared. So I hope you would enjoy reading that as much as we enjoyed writing that for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and a big hand to Mr. Sudipta Ghosh. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now formally release the report. And to do the honors, I'd like to invite on stage Mr. Kumar Rajagopalan, Chief Executive Officer, Retailers Association of India, Mr. Gopal Naik, Senior Vice President and Head Legal, Aditya Birla Retail and Pantaloons Fashion and Retail Limited, and a member of the REI Committee on Technology, and Mr. Raghu Pilaka, Head of Strategy, Reliance Retail, also a member of the Technology Committee of Retailers Association of India. Retailing in the Digital Era, a report jointly presented by Retailers Association of India and PwC. Congratulations to PwC and Retail Association India. Ladies and gentlemen, this report will be uploaded on the ReTechCon website in the next few hours, so you can access it tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Rajagopalan. Thank you,